Today at Fixed, I will be showing you how I replaced the digitizer on an Apple Watch Series 2 42mm display. The customer lost touch when they cracked their display, as you can see in the video. I've carefully removed the adhesive so that I can lift the display out. I'll remove these to make it easier for us to get it off. As you can see, the touch doesn't work. First thing I'll need to do is disconnect the battery. So I'm going to undo the screw here and remove the bracket that covers the battery. And then carefully I'll disconnect it with my fingernail. I found that's easiest to do. Next, I'm going to be pulling back the sticker that covers up each one of these connectors. Now, I really don't like this style of connector, especially because the tolerance is so tight. They slide in and slide out, and they're really hard to remove. You'll see that I struggle, like with every single one of these. I struggle with them. And there's some extra adhesive on this connector that I'm having to work with. Carefully peeling it up. With enough patience, you'll be able to disconnect the connectors, so take your time. Wiggle them a little bit if you have to, and they'll wiggle themselves out. There we go, it's off. Next, we're going to take it over to my heat plate, where I'll carefully peel back that sticker I was just prying at. And I had already started to remove the glass, but my head was in the way, so it wasn't a good video. So I'm just going to show you how I start to cut in between the glass and the display. I've already removed the digitizer flex cable. If you're wondering how I do that, it's the exact same in all of my other videos. Now I'm going to carefully take my wire. This is a 0.04mm wire. You'll notice, if you look carefully enough, that on one side, as I pull, the other side is typically not tight. You'll notice the spool there. Literally, I'm just unwinding it slowly without much tension as I pull with my other hand on the wire. The display is fairly flexible, but on the Series 2 and Series 3, the glass is shaped like a bowl, so you have to be very careful as to not just damage the display as you work the wire around it. You'll see here the wire is very loose on the left as I pull on the right side of the wire as it slowly slides towards the corner. Got to be extra careful towards the end because there's a lot of force going onto that corner. There, it's off. Next, we'll move to removing the extra adhesive. I do that by rubbing with my finger. It'll roll right off, given enough patience. And let's go ahead and test it, just to make sure we aren't wasting our time and that we didn't damage the display. Again, I really don't like these connectors, but if you've done this repair, you know what I say. So here's our first look at it. Looks good. We'll go ahead and wait for it to turn all the way on so we can check for any damage to the display. Now, this whole video is I'm doing in basically fast forward. It's ×4 speed, just to keep it as short as possible without leaving anything out. I try not to leave anything crucial out. Alright, so as you can see, the display looks great. Obviously, we won't be able to do anything with the touch screen, but we'll go ahead and disconnect the battery to turn it off. And we'll take the screen back off. And then we'll clean the display off. I use acetone to do this with a clean room wipe, being as gentle as possible. Next, we will get out our guide so that we can elevate the display. Because the digitizer again is shaped like a bowl, and we'll need some space for it to droop down over the edge, and so I have it elevated and centered on that little stand that I've made. I'll clean off every single last bit of dust and debris with the acetone and clean room wipe. Then I'm going to clean the inside of the digitizer just to make sure there is no other contaminants that'll be visible between the display and the digitizer. I'll go ahead and add a drop of my Loca adhesive, and then we'll go ahead and carefully place the digitizer on the adhesive. I went a little too fast and there's a little bubble that appeared, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and clean off the digitizer again. It requires a fair amount of patience to apply the glass without any issue, and I pulled out a little piece of dust that had floated down on there. We'll go ahead and let it naturally, using gravity, just naturally pull itself to every corner of the display. See here, I'm tapping my finger every second. See how long it takes. It's a patience game. Almost done. Go into the last bit of the corner, and then we'll be able to center the display and the glass and hit it with some UV light. I'm going to turn my microscope light on and look through my microscope and line up the corners. You can do this without a microscope. It is a little bit more tricky. With a microscope I can see the corners really easily. As I get it centered, and I like how it's centered, I'm going to flash it with some UV light. You'll see the purple or blue light. And then as I'm satisfied, we'll go ahead and hit it pretty hard with the light. Leave that there for a minute or two. I'm just showing you, here's a 42mm Series 2. That might not have been as visible. You'll see it again later. And on the inside of the display, the Loca has created a seal around the display, and I'm just going to solidify it as well. It's so far down inside the lip of this the glass that there's no point or no need to clean the excess unless it's substantial. You may have seen in another video where that happened. So I'll leave the light on the areas of concern where if I don't solidify it we'll have issues. And we'll go ahead and rotate it and solidify the other side where there's a little bit more, and then we'll spin it around and make sure that everywhere has also been hit with UV light. We'll go ahead and flip it back over and hit it some more on top just to make sure we've got a good solid screen. I'll clean it off and throw a protector back on there. Alright, next step will be to test the display. So I'm going to lay some adhesive down and stick the digitizer connector and line it with the other two connectors, and then put back the heatsink sticker. And again with the annoying connectors, we'll go ahead and connect the display and the touch. Once I have those connected, we'll go ahead and connect the battery and turn it on. Looks great. Now let's just wait and see if the touch is returned. Now at this point in time, I realized that I didn't have the passcode, but we should still be able to test the touch, and I'll get with the customer and figure out the passcode before finishing everything. But as you can see, touch is back. You can scroll around and change all the numbers. And then another way to test it is to simply grab the power button and maintain a hold on it, and if any of the screen has issues with the touch, it'll release the button wherever you're at. But it looks great. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn it off. Next, I'm just going to go re-adhere it, take it apart again, seal the edge. See, there you go, Series 2 42mm. I'll go ahead and seal the end and come back when I've got that done. Alright, here's the watch all finished. Series 2 42mm. All back on and good to go. Got the passcode from the customer so we can test out the rest of the touch. Everything looks good. The customer's going to be excited. Thanks for watching.